On to the next big story that we're debating. It's a big ticket electoral reform. The Election Commission of India, in fact, has developed a prototype of a remote electronic voting machine for domestic migrant workers and has invited political parties for a demonstration on the 16th of January. The RVMs will help migrant workers vote remotely in their home constituency, and voters will not have to travel to their home district or village to exercise their franchise. Election Commission said that RVMs will be developed as a robust, fail-proof and efficient standalone system based on existing EVMs and will not be connected to the internet. The Congress has now cried foul over the new reform being introduced by the EC. Congress says that Election Commission must first allay their fears on the misuse of EVMs before extending the new application, and that it would seriously undermine trust in the electoral system. Listen in.
I do not know what kind of this remote voting may be, but it may be very dangerous thing also. All parties, all political parties should be taken into confidence. Only then it should be implemented.
We have a doubt on this electronic voting machine. We have expressed that many times and we have represented to the Election Commission. But yet the Election Commission has not taken note of it so seriously.
मैनिपुलेशन ना हो, अच्छा से टेक्निकली डेवलप करके ऐसा कर सकता है, तो हम लोग को अगर बुलाएंगे तो हम लोग भी वहां जाकर पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे, देखेंगे अगर जन के हित में होगा ये वोटर जो राइट ऑफ फ्रेंचाइज का जो अधिकार है वोट देने का अधिकार है उसको खर्ब ना हो, तो ऐसा होगा तो क्यों नहीं, हम लोग वेलकम करेंगे और उसको देखेंगे और पार्टिसिपेट भी करेंगे.
You're watching the Newshour at 9, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Across to our guest, joining us is RP Singh, national spokesperson of the BJP. Ravula Sridhar Reddy, leader of the BRS, joins us, and we're going to go to him first. Of course, Anand Ranganathan and Lokesh Jindal continue to be with us. Mr. Reddy, my question to you is this: what possibly could be the objection to a move? You know, we know what happened in the 2019 elections. Only 67% of our eligible voters actually voted. A big concern was domestic migrant workers who perhaps could not reach their village or town where their vote was registered. And Election Commission says that this is a huge reform that will actually help them. Why should this be opposed? Please unmute yourself and speak, sir.
While I agree, 30 crore of electors are not voting and all, it's a real concern. And this idea of remote voting looks very beautiful and crazy. But what about the practical issues basically? Are we really ready to implement such system? Have we already created enough trust in the electronic voting machines in the country? And after every elections, you see a lot of debates happening, many political parties complaining about their trustworthiness. And we had to introduce VVPAT, then counting of the slips and all that stuff. So from the ballot paper to migrate to the EVMs, it took us a long time. And before we create complete trust over them, again, if you wanted to do one more reform, I think this needs a lot more consultation, a wider consultation from all the political parties. Simple demonstrations.
So the consultation process has not been in any way started.
Where, Madhav, one thing.
Mr. Reddy, one second. Yeah. I'm coming to you on your point only. The Election Commission is saying they will do a demonstration on the 16th of January. They are inviting comments and suggestions from all political parties. All the 62 national and state political parties can give in writing what are their suggestions to reform the system. So where is the question of this being one-sided or suggestions not being taken?
See, I am not trying to be biased on this. I am trying to put forth a question where, how are we going to create trust? Definitely every political party is going to give their opinions on this. But today, in the most technologically advanced systems, even the best of these systems, defense systems are being hacked. Most of the bank systems are hacked.
Which EVM has been hacked, sir? Which EVM has been hacked? Isn't it a fact that the Election Commission threw open the challenge to all political parties to come and hack the EVMs, and every party failed to, despite the large amount of disinformation and gathering? Sir, at least now, so many years later, we should not say that EVMs can be hacked. This is an EVM that's not going to be connected to the internet. The Election Commission has clarified that. Despite that, they found a technological solution. Should we move ahead with technology to enable people, or should we continue fighting like crabs in a basket?
Definitely, Madhav, we are not negative. As BRS party, we are not negative to the idea. We only say that this need a wider consultation and this need, more clarity on the entire aspect. And we
Okay.
still have to see how Election Commission is going to explain us how are they going to do this reform and all that.
All
stuff.
right. Anand Ranganathan, come in. You wanted to
We
respond to
need,
him. Yeah.
more clarity on the part of technology.
Okay, Mr. Reddy, you made your
How
point.
it's
You
going
made
to-
your point. Now listening to the responses. Anand Ranganathan.
Thank you. Thank you, Madhav. Very briefly, I'd like to make 2 points which are very important. Number one, the fact of the matter is that ours is a country that is rapidly scaling the heights of technological advancement. We are sending satellites to Mars. This is an advance which is long overdue, as you correctly put it. Mid-60s, 65 to 67% of the electorate who were eligible to vote actually voted. The other 35% could not vote because they were not in their constituencies. So we have to have a technology, we have to have a hand to enable them to do so. Number two, what cannot be cured has to be endured, and Mr. Jindal will come in after me. It is his party, decades after EVMs have passed every test, every possible test, they still doubt the EVM. In fact, if it was not the EVM but ballot paper elections, they would even doubt the shop that supplied the quality of the paper for which the ballot boxes were, the votes were casted. So I cannot trust the opposition, and the irony is that it is the Congress during the emergency that inserted the word scientific temperament in our constitution. Is this the scientific temperament? After 20 years of spectacular
Madhav,
success of EVMs,
Madhav.
they are still doubting. They are saying
Madhav, let me
EVMs
make it
can be
very
hacked.
clear.
And number two, Mr. Reddy, please allow me to finish. I did not interrupt you. Just 10 seconds.
Fine.
Thank you. Thank you so much. After so much hue and cry, they added the VVPAT to the EVM, Madhav, as you remember. In 2019, 99.995% of the EVMs proved to be correct with the VVPATs. This is the acumen of our scientists. At least trust them.
Ravula Sridhar Reddy, you're doubting the acumen of our scientists, you're doubting the acumen
I'm
of our
sorry.
election commission, you're
Mr.
doubting
Ranganathan
each and every
has
institution in the
mistakenly-
country is the question coming in. Yeah.
Madhav, I didn't say that we have doubts over the EVMs. I said many political parties, even today, time and again, they claim there are certain issues with EVM. It is not BR, as I said. In
But
general,
why is that? Why
when
does
the
that happen only when they
comes in-
lose, sir?
Let me
Why,
make
why
it-
does
let
that
me
happen
make it-
only when they lose the election, not when they win?
No.
When they win an election, the EVMs are fine.
I understand.
After
I
Himachal,
understand,
there was
but-
no doubt about the EVMs. Now again, we have a doubt on the EVMs.
No, I am making it general. When there is such situation now around, it's only very shorter time that we had this EVM thing going on. Then we have, added VVPATs, create more trust and everything. Now, we are not negative to the idea. That's what I said. The idea looks beautiful. What about the infrastructure? What about the technology that you have? How are we going to, prove this? This will be completely foolproof.
Well, that's
And
for
how
the
are we
election
going
commission to explain to political parties. They've circulated a
Definitely.
concept note and they will perhaps
Definitely.
explain it on the 16th. I don't want to
This
dwell
is
on
the
that
very
one point, but
idea.
I want to certainly go across to Lokesh Jindal on a couple of other points. Because Lokesh Jindal, in today's press release, and I'm coming to Mr. R.P. Singh, Mr. Lokesh Jindal, Mr. Jairam Ramesh mentions, one of the last paragraph says that Congress party has made suggestions to increase confidence in the voting process by expanding the number of booths in which VVPAT slips are counted. However, this has not been accepted. Do you know who did not accept this? Do you know who did not accept this, Lokesh Jindal? It was the Supreme Court of the country. So, where are we going to end these debates? This has been challenged before the court. The court said something once, there was an interim order, and there was a final order. Are we going to go on, flogging dead horses? Where is the end to all of these political debates?
Madhav, Dr. Anand Ranganathan said that we are technically very advanced country, but I hope we are not more advanced than Japan. Japan introduced EVM in 2002 and scrapped it in 2018.
We've had this
And when we are talking about United States, even that prefers the ballot system rather than EVMs.
Are
The
you
point
against
is,
EVMs?
when we are talking about elections,
I have an
please
answer
don't
to that.
interject.
One second, I have an answer to that.
When I'm talking about elections, the purpose is to give legitimacy to those who would be holding the highest power in the country. So it has to be free and fair, much to the confidence of the voters and the masses. It's not about whether you use technology or not. It's not necessary to use technology everywhere. But the point is, you have to instill faith amongst the masses, the voter, that indeed the process is free and fair without any form of opaqueness. It is transparent. And then whoever
Was
is being,
Himachal free and fair?
who is being
Himachal free and fair,
elected,
Lokesh?
that individual, please do not interject here, Anand, please. I did not
Was
interject.
Himachal free and fair?
So the person who is elected is indeed the representative of the masses. Now, when I'm talking about election commission planning to give the ballot over there in a migrant worker, whichever city he is in, there are so many issues involved. What about the polling agent? What about transparency, whether the voter cast has been done in a fair manner or not? Another question that could be asked is how many ballots are you going to distribute? I mean, all migrants, they do not go to one city or one particular region altogether. I mean, the better option would be to give some form of a conveyance so that they come back and they can vote.
All right, Lokesh Jindal, you've made a number of points, and let me respond to them one by one. And in fact, let me bring in the BJP, because the BJP has also, Mr. RP Singh has also been making several points. Mr. RP Singh, you've heard Lokesh Jindal. I have responses to what he has to say, but I'm going to give you a quick chance to rebut him first.
Well, Madhav, this complete debate has to be dissected into two parts. One is whether the present political setup has faith in EVM or not. I mean, if PRS doesn't have faith, then they won the 2019 election in Telangana. Congress don't have faith, they won the Himachal election just recently. So they have to decide on that, one. And secondly, it doesn't matter what do Japan do, what do America do. I mean, it matters that we have the technology, and then whether we can put that technology to the best of the use. And our election commission is seen as the best election commission worldwide. I mean, people from various countries call our election commission to even conduct elections in their respective places. But that point aside, the bigger issue is on the this RVM, remote voting machines. Well, 16th January, Election Commission has called a meeting of all political parties, and they have already sent a concept note to all political parties to read that and then see how it will be practically implemented and give their suggestions. I mean, this is the process which will begin. And if we can take a lead in the world to ensure that the democracy is deepened to the last voter, I mean, there's nothing wrong in it. I mean, if the percentage of vote goes up, this will be a good answer to people who say that people seek whatever they want to seek from the government, but when it comes to voting, they don't come to vote. So wait for the time, give your suggestion to the Election Commission, but don't rule out something without even understanding it. I mean, and then without even going through the process of what they are saying.
Absolutely. Don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. We are almost out of time, and gentlemen, I will not be able to take responses to this, but 2 or 3 facts that I just want to put out for the information of our viewers. And this is something the Election Commission has explained multiple times in the past. When it comes to the case of Germany, Japan, and the United States, their EVMs are OS based, which means that they are susceptible to hanging and hacking, which our EVMs are not, because the technology is just so basic that it cannot actually be in any way hacked or tampered with. That's the claim that the Election Commission has repeated several times in the past, and they've also gone on to clarify that even German diplomats who were referred to, in one of the political parties' releases actually came just this month to look into EVMs and actually use them. Several such other arguments that have come in from the Election Commission side. One certainly hopes that when it comes to reforms, at least there can be a spirit of bipartisanship and we can move on. The pain and suffering of migrants, many of them who in fact come from the poorest sections of our society, and their right to franchise is ultimately what's at stake over here. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. RP Singh, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, Lokesh Jindal, and Ravula Sridhar Reddy.